Hey, what's going on, everyone? Let me see here. Just making sure I got everything right. Okay, I clicked on something. I don't know what just happened, but some random sign popped up. Okay, cool. So I'll wait a little bit. Hope everyone is having a good weekend. And let me play around with the sound here. Tim, the legend himself, Petro, is in the house. I was actually going to give you a shout out today, Tim. Hope all is well. Joey, let me know if I pronounce your name right, or if it's pronounced Joe, maybe. I always have trouble with some people's names. But hope everyone is doing well. I'm just going to take like a little bit and just wait for some people to come in here. Edgar, Bob. Hey, Bob. Good to see you as always. I think Bob and Tim especially were one of the original members of the group. I think they've been here for like at least 2 years. I think I started this group about 2 years ago or so. So always good to see you guys. Let me know what you're up to this weekend. I'm just gonna, you guys guessed it, do my traditional cup of coffee, always in glass, guys. Try to drink hot liquids from glass all the time. Or stainless steel too, works as well if you prefer that. But try to avoid drinking hot liquids from plastic, and also try to avoid heating up your foods in plastic as well. Adolfo, good to see you. Hope everything's well, you guys. Man, that's really good. Okay. Donald, great to see you. Adolfo, good to see you as well. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. George, hope all is well, man. Good to keep in touch all these years. Hope everything's going well in Southern California. I've been out of that place for quite a while, as you know. I moved out quite a while ago. Alvin, good to see you. Hope everything's well, you guys. Also, you guys, if you guys have any topic ideas, I'm always open-minded to discuss certain topics. So if you guys are troubled by any kind of, Jason, good to see you. Hope everything's well in California. So if you guys have any topics you want to cover or are curious about or just not certain about, just let me know. I'm not saying I have the answer for it, but if I do, I'll try to do a video on it. That way we get some new topics too. That's always interesting. Elias, good to see you. Jason, let me know how things are, how life has been. Always good to keep in touch as well. Okay, so you guys, I know I want to put the spotlight on a lot of my clients, right? And try to kind of keep it off of myself, not be so centered on myself all the time, but really celebrate the victories and overcoming obstacles that they've been able to do for themselves. So just giving a few shout outs before the topic. In today's topic, we'll be discussing how to stay fit while traveling and strategize there, because I know that could be very challenging. And there are different forms of traveling, you know, like weekend trips, national trips, international trips. Every single one has different challenges and obstacles. And we're going to go over some strategies of what to do when encountering those, because I don't travel too much anymore, but I used to travel a tremendous amount, like internationally especially. So it is possible to still attain to your health and fitness goals. It is a bit challenging, and sometimes it's not even necessary also, so you have to know where you're coming from. But before we begin, I just want to give a few shout outs. So Tim Petro, he's a member of our group. I think he's actually on this live right now. He should serve as a great example that it's never too late to turn it around if mental and physical health is your priority. So at least when we're coaching together, he was like 60 years old. I think he's like 62 at the moment. We started coaching together at the peak of the whole, all the shutdowns. I think it was the second round of shutdowns. So obviously, as you guys know, all the gyms were closed. Pretty much everything was closed. And literally, we just had a pair of bands in a local kind of like forest/park area, just to kind of do nature walks on, okay? And in I forgot exactly, but 6 to 8 month period or so, he was still able to lose 60 pounds and get off 9 medical drugs. So just an example that if it's a priority, you could always make it happen. And especially with mental and physical health, remember, you don't need, it's cool to have a gym. I go to a gym. I love going to a gym. But you don't need like super expensive equipment or super elaborate systems and stuff of that sort. You just need to make yourself a priority, and then you'll always find the answers after that. Robert Flores, too, also a member of this group. I think we coached together about a half a year ago or so. And in about a 6-month period, he managed to lose 25 pounds and get off 5 medical drugs and also not have to be on his type 2 diabetes medication as well, which is huge because a lot of people get stuck using metformin for forever, and then it really doesn't make most people feel that good. They don't like how they feel on it. But just know, and Robert serves as a perfect example, that you could get healthy enough to not have to be on it anymore. Sure, you're going to have to manage your insulin and stuff of that sort through diet and lifestyle, but it is possible to do that without having to rely on dangerous medical drugs if that's not your priority or want. Lewis, Angel, Marius, good to see you. Marius, I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you on here. Also, 2 other group members, both 60-year-old males. These guys were actually pretty fit already, and I posted a lot of their pictures here, obviously, in the group. Arthur Fry, and I interviewed both of them too, Arthur Fry and Randy Goslow. So 60-year-old males. They're the typical, like, going to the gym 5 days a week already and eating fairly healthy and stuff of that sort. But just, especially with Arthur, had chronic pain in the shoulders, chronic pain in the back. And both of them just had issues with losing stubborn body fat and stuff of that sort, which actually isn't an issue into old age. It's just you have to have a better understanding of nutrition and training principles and lifestyle principles at that age to be able to train with the appropriate amount of volume, but at the same time not agitate your joints and also not burn out your central nervous system because endurance tends to kind of go down as you age and stuff. So strategizing your workouts becomes more important. But don't think just because you're getting older, you have to like stop working out. Actually, you should be working out a lot more. You should just be working out a lot smarter with a lot better programming and just being more mindful of technique and recovery and all that stuff. Okay. But Arthur Fry, I did a comparison with professional athletes that are probably on a lot of steroids side by side, and Arthur Fry, that are much younger than him. Some of them, I think, were like 20, 28, 30, and he's 60. And I did a side-by-side comparison picture. I don't know if you guys remember. And he was like just as ripped and shredded as these professional athletes. And Arthur Fry has been a lifetime natural. 0 performance-enhancing drugs use, 0 testosterone replacement therapy, 0 peptides, and stuff of that sort. And we just had him using like the most basic of supplements, basically like a paleo protein, which is a great brand I like from Dr. Myers. I get 0 kickbacks from any of these brands. They're just brands I enjoy. So you guys are welcome to check it out if you want, if it's your thing and stuff of that sort. And just some vitamins, we had him taking, I think, like a multivitamin and also like a DIM supplement to help with hormone balance and stuff of that sort, and a fish oil supplement. And that's it, and still able to get super ripped, super shredded at 60. I think we coached together for 4 or 5 months. I got to look back at the post I made and still look super ripped and shredded like a professional athlete in their late 20s. Like I did that comparison picture you guys could kind of see. And same thing with Randy. And he's a busy executive too. I think he's an executive at a bank or something of that sort. And still able to do it. And neither of them did any cardio, okay? I just had them lifting weights and really focusing heavily on central nervous system management techniques, lifestyle variables, nutrition, sourcing, etc., stuff of that sort. So it's possible. 60 years old. I even have a 75-year-old client here in this group as well. I'm hoping to interview him at a later point. We're still coaching together. He's still making great progress. Just know, guys, at any age, fat loss is still very easy. As you get older, especially in your 60s and 70s, sure, holding on to muscle does become tougher. That's a reality. But just know if fat loss is your goal, that's very easy to accomplish at any age, especially when you get rid of self-sabotage. Then it becomes extremely easy, right? So another 2 shout outs here before we begin. Alex Rafsky, great client, very busy lawyer, actually just recently had a knee injury while playing recreational soccer on the weekend. He got kind of checked from the side and tore his ACL. And obviously wasn't able to work out for a long time. And because of the stress of being a lawyer, which a lot of lawyer positions are pretty stressful, he gained about 35 pounds of unwanted weight. So he came to me wanting to lose that difference and also just wanting to establish more health conscious lifestyle patterns, but also not wanting to agitate or hurt his knee again, which happened when he tried to get back into working out on his own. He kind of surpassed that biological tipping point and inflamed the knee again. So we've been coaching together, and you guys see the post that I post frequently, once a week at least here. We've been coaching together 3 months already. He's already down 20 pounds, and his knee feels great, and he's looking a lot leaner, feeling a lot healthier. We're working on a lot of variables in terms of how to balance out his stressful work with being health conscious, because some occupations, it's tougher to do that than others, and stuff of that sort. So you have to be mindful of those little differences, because the type of occupation you pick is going to determine, the foundation, could determine like a big part of the foundation to how to structure your workout programs and nutrition programs. And then, hopefully I pronounced his last name correct, Charlie Bonomo, down 100 pounds. And I think we've been coaching, we're already approaching 11 months, so it's almost like a year client, but down 100 pounds and, in his mid-50s and stuff of that sort, and off of 2 medical drugs as well. So it's possible at any age, as you can guys see here, pretty much all of the people I listed, Tim Petro's like 60, 61, Robert Flores is about 53, Arthur and Randy Goslow are 60, Alex Rafsky is mid-30s, and Charlie is mid-50s. And they're all able to lose weight consistently. They all have various challenges, various issues, but still able to do it and hit their goals. So you guys can as well, okay? Okay, so today I wanted to cover traveling. Let me know if you guys have any trips planned and where you guys are planning on going. There are kind of a few unique challenges when you do travel, right? So, and it depends on a couple of different circumstances. I used to travel a tremendous amount. Spent like 4 months in India, 2 months in China, 2 months in Japan, quite a bit of time in Ukraine and Moldova area, quite a bit of time in Germany, Austria, etc., and stuff of that sort. And each country provides unique challenges too. So, first and foremost, it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish and your goals too, right? Are you competing? Are you just trying to stay fit? Do you just like working out? All of these things play an important part in determining your strategy. And obviously I don't know that because I don't know you guys personally. So that's important to consider. And that's another important thing to consider too when seeking any kind of advice online, even when it's coming from me. Just, you have to be very careful because inevitably the person giving the advice doesn't know you personally and doesn't know your unique circumstances. So it's going to be tough to give you advice then without even knowing you. Just imagine, I say this often because it's so clear once you hear it. Imagine showing up to a doctor's office and they don't even talk to you and they're like, here, take these medical medications. You're like, oh, you don't even know my issue. It's the same thing with any advice online. Just be very careful. Even if they're credible, even if they have good intentions, it's just they never met you. And because everyone's situation is so unique, it's really tough. Unless the advice is so general, like eat organic versus eating Twinkies every day, it's going to be really tough to apply. It might open up some new ideas for you. Then you would need to study those ideas in more detail and figure out how to customize it to your needs. But taking advice on face value, like eat this, or invest in the stock market versus real estate, or get this car versus this car, you can't really do that. It's not fair for you because they don't know your situation and what specifically you're trying to look for. Sometimes the person doesn't even know what they're trying to look for either. So I'll just tell you guys what I did when I traveled and to the different countries as well. So if you kind of travel to these countries, it may or may not work for you. So sometimes you run into situations where you have weekend trips, right? So it's like Monday, Saturday, and you're back on, Friday, Saturday, and you're back on Sunday, for example. Or you leave on Saturday and you're back on Sunday night, or something of that sort. So in that situation, depending on how you divide your training routine, one thing you could do is just bunch up all your workouts during the week. Don't worry, you're not doing this consistently or anything. So it doesn't matter if you kind of feel a little kind of beat up or something during the week because you bunched up your workouts without a rest day, because you're going to have those recovery days when you're traveling anyways. So let's say typically, let's say you break down your days, you work out on Mondays, Tuesdays, you take Wednesdays off, then you also work out on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, right? Typically. But let's say you're going on a trip one week. So in that situation, if I was going on the trip that weekend, I would simply bunch up my days. So I would just work out, depending on how you lay it out, I would just work out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and take Saturday and Sunday off because I'll be traveling those days, right? And also if you're traveling, you're kind of more active traveler, like you're traveling to go hiking, just remember that's a workout too. But of course, if you want to get the weightlifting sessions in and stuff of that sort, you definitely do need to bunch them up. Sometimes you could even double it up. Like in college during finals, I would spend all week studying, right? And then just double up my workouts on Saturday and Sunday. So I would do like a workout in the morning, a workout like midday on Saturday, a workout in the morning on Sunday, and a workout midday on Sunday as well. So before workouts that week, but in 2 days. That way you have enough time to study during the week and, study and take your finals and stuff of that sort. But I would typically only do that also like a week before finals or, 2 weeks before finals and finals week. It's not like a regular thing. But just like traveling isn't going to be a regular thing either. So you have to keep that in mind. So you can bunch them up. Sometimes also missing a workout here and there, it's totally not a big deal. I understand the psychology of being consistent is important, but you have to be a little bit flexible as well, So you can bunch them up. And especially during weekend trips, I feel during longer trips, it makes sense to find a gym nearby. But during weekend trips where it's like 1 or 2 days, I feel it's more hassle than it's worth to go find a gym, especially if it's a new location. Got to go find a gym. You have to talk to the front desk person, get a membership of some sort, like a day pass or something of that sort, and then work out and then, drive back or whatever. You got to get used to the roads. And it's just not worth, in my opinion, just getting that workout in, Now, if you're traveling to the same place for like business all the time and you're very familiar with the environment and the setup, that's like a different story because you can kind of adjust a lot faster for that. So for weekend trips, I would recommend that. And once again, it depends on your goals too, right? If you're trying to lose weight, if that's your main goal, you really don't have to focus on working out. Your focus, especially during traveling, should really be to double down on your eating. And you could do this 1 or 2 ways. It depends on your personality and your needs, of course. You could rent an Airbnb, and I used to do this all the time and still do it from time to time. And basically just stop by the grocery store, find a grocery store nearby, and buy what you need for the amount of days you're going to be on that trip, right? Because the Airbnb is going to have a kitchen. I'd probably get some butter or something for cooking oils, for something to cook the pan in, because they're probably just going to have industrial seed oils in the Airbnb, and you can kind of use that instead of the industrial seed oils they'll probably have there. And that's it. You have your food there. And personally, what worked well for me in the past was just eating like a fairly large breakfast and a fairly large dinner so I could be out during the middle of the day and not have to eat a meal and stuff of that sort, This would also save you quite a bit of money too, because you don't have to eat out and stuff of that sort. I do understand socializing when traveling is a big deal too, and especially when you're traveling, you do want to try new restaurants and locations. That's a big deal for a lot of people. So in that situation, I found another strategy that still requires a decent amount of discipline, surprisingly, although it's easy to understand, is one thing I would do is simply just do like a carnivore diet when traveling. This is pretty easy to follow. You just simply pick meat options on the menu. And that's it, And then for liquids, all I would really have is just black coffee in the morning, preferably organic. Like you can stop by a Whole Foods or something, and they have cold brewed organic pre-made coffee in huge glass containers. Probably just get one of those. That's like good enough for a weekend. And then just drink water throughout the day. And that's it. And so you could order, with the carnivore diet, any meat options, even eggs, for example. You could order, beef, bison, whatever, any kind of fish, chicken. I found, though, it works well is just mainly ordering like a steak, because if you order like chicken or fish, at least for me, I felt like I would always stay hungry throughout the day. So a steak, 1 pound steak, give or take how much fat is on it, is going to be like 1,000 calories, just 1 pound. So you could eat like one of those for breakfast, for example, or lunch, and just have like a fast during a breakfast, and one of those for dinner. You're already at 2,000 calories with just 2 steaks. So it adds up really fast. And another thing you can do is just order non-starchy vegetables. You can have unlimited amounts of these guys pretty much, because they're like, you can consider them as 0 calories, and then just rely on water. It sounds easy to do, and some people could easily do it. I've had many clients in this group, Anthony being one of them, that travel a tremendous amount for their work. And Anthony is a current client of mine, and he's already lost, I think, I got to double check, but I think around 20 pounds or so in 3 months. He's been traveling like 80% of the time, okay? And we just really have him doing this kind of like carnivore type diet when he's on the road. And then a better planned diet when he's at home, because obviously the carnivore diet, in my opinion, isn't something you should be doing long term, It's just kind of like a weekend quick fix. And it's like something I would do and my clients would do. But some of my clients, not all of them, but it depends on your situation, also your digestive health. Sometimes high protein diets aren't going to be good for some people and will cause serious digestive issues as well, etc. So that's why I go back to be very careful with listening to advice online, because the person has never met you and they don't know your situation personally, okay? But these are things that have personally worked for me over the years with traveling and stuff of that sort. So with the carnivore diet, eating out, you still got to be pretty disciplined, because you'll be surprised, your friends or whoever will be ordering that bread, and the dessert and stuff of that sort. You may want to try it. And honestly, depending on your goals and how far ahead you are in your journey, you might be able to do it. And it's up to you to decide if you want to or not, and stuff of that sort. But those are 2 easy strategies you can do. So basically, you can do the Airbnb option and just eat what you normally would eat, but you would need to stop by the grocery store and purchase what you need before entering the Airbnb. Or you can do the carnivore diet. Then you can negate all that, possibly even get a hotel, and pretty much you eat out like twice a day. And usually, personally, I would just order like a pound of steak each time, and just like a bunch of water and stuff of that sort. So there's some options, like weekend type trip options, when you're on the go and fat loss is a goal. Also, even when muscle retention is a goal, because you still need to, keep a certain amount of protein in your diet to retain muscle and also stay full, etc., etc. So another thing that I've found worked well is typically when you set up a workout program, it's divided, as I mentioned before, into weeks, months, quarterly goals and annual goals, right? And usually, depending on how you break your workout program down and set it up, you typically will need to take, especially for longevity, about a week or so off every 12 to 16 weeks before you go into a new cycle of training routines with new goals, etc., that builds off the previous cycle. So one thing I like to do is set up my trips during those weeks, because you're not training anyways. So you don't have to find a gym, and you can just relax, and it's totally fine to take these breaks. I even do deload weeks also every 3 to 4 weeks on my training program. It's great for longevity, great for also not burning out your central nervous system with super hard training week after week after week after week, etc., etc. There's nothing wrong with taking an entire week off every 12 to 16 weeks. It could actually, if anything, help you recover and look better too. So typically, I'll just set up a trip during that time, and that way it doesn't get in the way or anything. So Let me grab a sip of coffee here. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I see some new people jumped in. Felix, Daniel, Alvin, Gene. Good to see you guys. Okay, so I'll give 3 examples of trips that I've gone on and exactly what I did on these trips. So as you guys know, I recently was a guest speaker at the Four Corners Festival. It's basically right at the border of Colorado and New Mexico. And this was I believe a 4-day event. I was only there for 3 of the days, but I drove there. I wanted to do a road trip anyways because I never really drove through New Mexico. And I drove there. I did a 2-day trip and a 2-day trip back. So basically like a 6-hour drive one of the days, hotel, then 6-hour drive, made it to the event, then stayed at the event for like 3 days, then same thing going back. Boom, 6-hour drive back, hotel, 6-hour drive back, and then you're at home, right? So what I did was basically 2 things. I had a combination, right? I'm staying at a hotel in between the trips, but then this event was like a camping by the river type festival, right? So I had a tent and stuff of that sort. And I brought a grill. So while staying in the hotel, all I simply did was basically I went to a restaurant and I got a steak. They had some pretty good steak houses around, and I just ordered like about a pound of steak, 16 ounces, with water, maybe coffee or whatever, and that's it. And that's all I would have there. It's very tasty, very good. And then also, like, I had a cooler with me, and before going on the trip, I stopped by a Whole Foods and got like just a bunch of 0-calorie like snacks. So they have a bunch of like really good 0-calorie teas with basically no sugar, 0-calorie pre-made coffee drinks, in cans. I got some beef jerky sticks. What else? Almonds as well and stuff of that sort. Keep in mind that also, guys, I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm actually trying to gain weight too, okay? So the almonds are very, very high in fat and calories, and I was using those to keep the calories in, etc., etc. And then just little things, like convenient things, like you got a bunch of bananas, oranges, apples, stuff that you could just eat really, really fast and stuff of that sort. And then a bunch of water, obviously, okay? And then I would snack on that while driving, and then once I got to the hotel, I would find a steakhouse, eat a steak, and then go on the trip again. And then once I got to the event, basically before I got to the event, there's an Albertsons, maybe like 20 minutes before hitting the event. You need to kind of search this stuff. And I bought, once again, just a whole bunch of steaks. That's it. Basically, I calculated I'm going to be there 3 days, and I need 2 steaks per day. So I bought 6 steaks. And that's it. And then I bought like some small bags of organic carrots, those little small baby organic carrots they sell. I bought like a couple of those. So it's convenient. They're pre-washed too. So you can just snack on those. You eat them really fast. And then I got some water as well. And then that's it. All I did was just cook those at the event. And that's that. And then I had, once again, I bought that glass container of pre-made coffee from Whole Foods way back when. It had a bunch of ice, obviously, that I put it in. And then it was just drink that coffee in the morning and stuff of that sort. And that's it. Pretty much set to go. They really didn't even have that many places where you can buy food. Everyone was baking their food there. So it's not like it was an option anyways, unless you're willing to drive, 20 minutes back into town and go to a restaurant there and then come back, which no one is really doing. But when you're going on camping trips, this is just something you would want to do. Consider the ice situation. You want to probably, I don't know the size of your guys' cooler, but I needed, I think, 3 bags of ice. And then every stop or every day I would add just 1 bag of ice just to kind of refill what was melted and stuff of that sort, just to keep everything cool. And then same thing on the way back. I would the stop in between the hotel, I would get a steak and then go home, and then you're at home, and that's it. So it's definitely not eating at McDonald's or fast food or any fast food places or pizza places or anything of that sort. So that's for sure. A long time ago, I did go to Japan for about 2 months, and it once again depends on your situation, right? and what you're trying to do at the moment. So in this situation, I was lucky enough to one of my friends from college, his aunt and uncle were professors at a university in Tokyo. So they had an extra apartment and they let me use that apartment. So I had pretty much everything there. And then obviously there's a grocery store like literally walking distance. I didn't have a car or anything, but I did get this thing called a JR pass. So if you ever go to Japan, I would recommend getting that. I don't know if they have it now. Remember, this is in 2010, but basically they let you use all public transportation, and that JR pass is very inexpensive, and their public transportation is really good in that country. You can pretty much get anywhere you want very quickly. And I was just using that to go back and forth. So there, obviously, there's a grocery store, and I had a kitchen, obviously, in the apartment. So it's pretty easy. And then when I would eat out, I would simply just eat sushi and stuff of that sort. My eating out is still whole food. It's still usually pretty much single ingredient food. Like a steak is just a steak, for example, and maybe the butter they put on it or something of that sort. Or sushi would be two ingredients, like you got the piece of fish, the rice, and maybe, I don't know, the sticky substance, the sugar they used to put the rice together and stuff of that sort. That's it. I don't eat fast food ever. I don't eat pizza and stuff of that sort, So for my workouts, what I did, David, good to see you. What is the average number of pounds of meat you eat per week? I eat around 2 pounds a day, so it'd be 14 pounds a week. And it's usually this year, I'm sticking to just wild game and wild fish. So it varies a little bit from week to week, but the general idea is like on Monday and Tuesday I have elk. On Wednesday and Thursday I have like deer. On Friday, Saturday I have like fish. And then on Sunday I would have like 100% grass-fed beef or bison from an AGA certified ranch. So they have a grocery store called Natural Grocers near my house, and they sell AGA certified beef, but that's not going to be accessible for most people. So you guys can go to americangrassfed.org and scroll to the bottom of the website, and there'll be an interactive map. We're low on batteries, and there'll be an interactive map, and you simply click on that map and you select a ranch that you'd want to purchase from. Great websites that are already vetted, like azgrassraisedbeef.com. Very good, very prompt with their shipping. You would simply order before Tuesday. They ship it out like on Wednesday, and you get your package on Thursday. It's flash frozen. And don't worry about flash frozen meat. It's actually much fresher than the stuff you typically find at the grocery store, because they typically freeze it very close to the processing date, and that way it's preserved. So as you unfreeze it or defrost it, it's pretty much like brand new meat, where the meat on the counter at the grocery store, who knows how long it's been sitting there for, right? Who knows? So that's what I eat. It's around 2 pounds a day. I'm around 200 pounds or so at 6'2", and lift weights about 5 days a week or so. So yeah, in Japan for my workouts, they did actually have quite a bit of gyms. I didn't go to a gym or anything. I just had bands, and luckily there was like a park literally right near the apartment. Okay, so I would utilize that park, and simply I would bring my backpack and do like weighted pull-ups, weighted dips. There are a couple of rocks near there, and I'll kind of throw the rocks into the backpack. And I also had a pair of bands, and typically back then I just did like P90X workouts, and it was good enough to maintain. You're not gonna get like super huge or muscular on those workouts or anything, but it's good enough to keep the muscle moving and maintain what you do have, and not lose what you have on trips as well. So obviously a 2-month trip, you definitely want to find a location near where you're staying, or you want to have, like, bands are very easy. You can just carry them in your backpack and stuff of that sort, which is basically like what I did. And that's kind of what I did on my Japan trip. And I still stayed with pretty good eating. And pretty much all the liquids I would drink throughout my lifetime would be basically like predominantly water, but also just some teas and coffee. I never really got into soda. I would recommend staying away from soda, even if it's diet soda, for example, and just staying away from all that stuff and drinking the stuff that's been tried and tested over already who knows how many thousands of years, right? So, okay, so that's kind of what I did in Japan. Japan was pretty easy because I had an apartment, okay? So once again, you guys could replicate that by simply just getting an Airbnb, and you pretty much have a house with a full kitchen, etc., and then you can just utilize the grocery store in the nearby area. Or you can do kind of like the carnivore type diet setup or stuff of that sort. So now the more challenging trip was in 2013, and I was gone for 4 months in India. So gyms were tough to find, especially the way I was traveling because I was backpacking. Gyms were definitely tough to find, and I definitely lost a decent amount of muscle on that trip, okay? Especially because it was like 4 months long. But the good thing is if you establish a certain type of musculature and you lose it a little bit because lack of physical activity, you can regain it very, very quickly. And actually, when I came back from the trip, I pretty much regained everything within like a month period. So it comes back very fast if you had it at one point. And once again, there's nothing wrong from not training from time to time. It gives the body a break, and it could actually, if you do it right, increase your longevity as well, instead of just constantly beating your body up left and right. But also take note that the India trip was basically like a really tough backpacking trip. So I was like walking crazy amounts, taking a lot of trains. My backpack wasn't too heavy, but it was like, 25, 30 pounds, probably more of the 30-pound range. You're kind of carrying that all day. Plus I'm around 200 pounds. So it's like you're burning a lot of calories. And carrying that backpack around with you the whole time is basically like a total body workout. Your body has to flex basically everything to stabilize itself at that point and stuff of that sort. So in that situation, it was tough to work out. I mainly used the hikes and the weighted backpack as my workout. I did have bands, but honestly, I didn't use them too much. I maybe did like one workout a week or something of that sort, just for fun and mainly just moving, just going through the motions. It wasn't even like a serious workout or anything, because you're pretty beat up after walking for so many miles with this backpack, etc., etc. And still in that area, I still relied on whole food, like whole Indian food. Okay, I didn't eat their junk food or anything. I just mainly relied on bottled water there, which I feel is very important for obvious reasons, and that's about it. So on the India trip, because it was faster pace, I did mainly rely on eating out, but once again, I chose more whole food options. And also keep in mind that if anything, I was just trying to sustain my weight, if anything, gain weight. But if you're trying to lose weight and you go on trips like that, you'll probably end up gaining weight because of the rich Indian food and stuff of that sort, plus lack of lifting weights and all that other stuff. So as you guys can see, there are a couple of different options you can take, and it all comes down to what your goals are and what you're looking for at that specific time. And then you can make the appropriate adjustments and stuff of that sort. But generally speaking, if it's like a shorter trip, I would say, and I tell this to my clients a lot, like don't even worry about like working out, especially if fat loss is your goal, because oftentimes too, you're just too tired because of the new time zone. There's a lot of new stimuli. The central nervous system doesn't do too well when it has to change time zones very quickly and then adapt to the new time zone. So you might just be too tired and beat up anyways, and that increases your chance of injury. So I would rather, when you do travel, if weight loss is your goal, just really double down on your nutrition and getting good quality sleep, because missing a workout here and there, it's not going to do anything in the grand scheme of things. And weight loss is pretty much almost, I would say almost 100% dependent on lifestyle and nutrition variables anyways. Working out it's kind of more of a supplement to the weight loss process and more of kind of a long-term thing that's going to help you be more metabolically healthy and thus make your fat loss more sustainable, and you will have like a better looking physique and stuff of that sort as well. But really in the immediate moment, it's really all lifestyle, good sleep, and really just doubling down on that nutrition. That's going to be key. So when you travel, especially for these 1 or 2 day trips, I would say it's too much of a hassle to find a gym and get that one workout in. I would say just double down on your nutrition and make sure you're really well rested and hydrated. And that's good enough, especially if your trip includes like hiking or stuff of that sort. That already could be considered your workout. I mean, if you're really into just getting tough workouts because it makes you feel good, that's totally fine. Maybe in that situation, just pack your backpack up with some rocks or something of that sort to challenge yourself a little bit more. And you're pretty much ready to go. And that's it. So there's so many unique little variables when traveling too. Obviously, it's easier to find gyms in places like Germany or like Western European countries versus like Eastern European countries or a lot of Asian countries, for example. So there are all these unique little circumstances. But if it's a priority for you, you'll always find a way. And maybe some of these strategies could help you, okay? All right, so David, good to see you. Jay, that's it for the chat today, you guys. Hope you have a good weekend. I don't know if there are any good movies out or anything. I'm just going to try to relax and read some books this weekend and work on some client programs and stuff of that sort. And that's about it. So hope you guys have a good weekend. Thank you for stopping by and wishing you guys the best. Take care.